Hello, knitters, and welcome to another episode of A Knitter's Life. I think this is episode 17. So welcome. I feel like I haven't sat down and chatted with you guys in such a long time. I haven't even looked how long it's been, but I feel like it's been 2 months. It hasn't been that. I think it's been 3 weeks, but it's felt like a long time and I've missed you guys. You guys have been so encouraging and so supportive over in the Ravelry group, and I really appreciate it. In the episode 16 thread, all of your comments and all of your stories about how you knit with children and your children growing up. It's just been wonderful, and it's been so encouraging. I hope it's been encouraging to other young moms too, just reading those stories. So I really want to thank you guys, each and every one of you who has written in that thread. It's been encouraging and I think really supportive of mothers, young mothers in general. And I just, like I said, I hope that other mothers have found encouragement in that thread. So anyways, if you're a young mom who's a crafting mom and you haven't gone over to that thread, go over to that thread and just read some of the stories about how others have crafted with their children. And it's good. So there are so many thank yous to do that I am not going to be able to keep up with it. So I apologize, but I do want you guys to know that I am so grateful for each and every one of you that have written me in Ravelry and private messaged me and just contacted me through Instagram and things like that. You guys have been so kind, and I'm sorry if I'm delayed in getting my response back to you guys. But anyways, here we are. I recently, last weekend, I went over to Washington, Illinois to the Knitting Pipeline Retreat. And you probably already have heard other people talk about the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, but I wanted to just talk about it because this was my first retreat. So this is all going to be all about the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, and then I will try to do a regular podcast for you guys in the next few days because there is a lot to get caught up on. But I thought it would be fun just to totally focus on the Knitting Pipeline Retreat because I had never been to a knitting retreat, and I really, really wanted to go just to experience it. And in going to this knitting retreat, I realized how unique and special Paula of the Knitting Pipeline, her retreat is, and just what such a unique individual she is, and the people that she has surrounded herself. They are so kind and loving and giving and just extraordinary people. So if you have a first retreat, if you've never been to a retreat, and you need a first retreat to go get your feet wet, I would highly suggest and highly recommend the Knitting Pipeline Retreat just because everybody is so out of this world, incredibly kind, and it's very refreshing. So I headed over to Washington, Illinois all by myself. I was so proud of myself. And I had a fellow knitter here in the Indianapolis area ask me if I would, a couple of days before that, if I would be willing to drive over some knitting machines, sock knitting machines, that she said that Susan Anderson was going to pick up at the Knitting Pipeline Retreat. And I said, sure, anything to help other knitters out, especially, Susan Anderson, she's such a great knitter and gives, so much to all of us knitters and inspires us all. And with her blog, got to help everybody out. So I said, sure, no problem. But I said, I don't know that she's supposed to be there. I haven't heard anything about that. But, maybe this is some sort of surprise that Paula has up her back sleeve that I just know nothing about. So I didn't question it too much. I just said, sure, no problem. So on my way out to Washington, I bypassed where this lady lives or close to it. And so she said, I get off at this certain exit and I'll meet you at the McDonald's. And I said, okay, it sounds like we're going to be dealing drugs. But we're not. So I was driving along, and it's raining. It rained the whole day on Friday. It was raining. I don't like driving in rain. It was raining, and but I thought, okay, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. We've got 3 hours to go. We're going to make it. So and I had to leave late. I had to leave later than I needed to because of John and his school schedule, and I needed to pick him up, and when my mom could get over here. And so I was leaving behind, and I knew I was going to probably miss some of the sessions, but what can you do? So I'm driving to this exit, and I see the exit, and I get off, and it's the middle of nowhere. There's no McDonald's, there's no gas station, there's no building, there's nothing. And I thought, nope, I got off on the wrong exit. So I get back on the interstate, I'm driving, and I decided I better call that person and see exactly. Maybe I made a mistake. So I give her a call. I said, I think I got the wrong exit. I got off and there's no McDonald's, and I don't know, did I miss it? And she said, oh, that's right. There's 2 exits for our exit, our town. You want to get off at the second one. And I thought, oh, phew, okay, I haven't missed it. Keep going. So keep going. And it's still raining, and I get off at the exit, and I see the McDonald's. Okay, so I thought, okay, I'm good. So I pull in, and there she is, and she opens up the back of her SUV, and these sock knitting machines are big. For some odd reason, I had in mind, socks are little, so the machines are little, and no, they're big. So she had these 2 big crate tubs of them, and so I drive a little tiny Honda Fit, but I thought, we can fit them in. It's only me and my stuff, and we can certainly fit them in. So we rearranged the car a little bit and put these sock machines in, and these things are heavy. They're all metal, and they were heavy. And I was surprised by too. So I'm like, okay, all right, we got them in. And I almost, did we need to seatbelt them in? But no, we didn't need to seatbelt them in. Got them in there. I get back in the car. I get back on the road. And I'm like, whoa, the car's driving differently. It's slower. It feels like I've got another person in here. So I thought that was really funny. But I'm still going to make it. I'm still going to make it, So I get over there. And I find the church. It's out in the middle of prairie. I tell you guys, Central Illinois is flatter than a pancake. Flatter than a pancake. I thought Indiana was flat. Wow, you can see forever. And that's another thing, when you're driving and you can see forever, you feel like you're going nowhere for so long. You mean you're driving and the scenery doesn't change, and you look at the clock and only a minute's gone by, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, help me. But anyways, I made it over there. It was sunny and nice over there in Washington, Illinois. I had to drive through fog to get there. This big cloud started enveloping me, and I thought, oh no, is it going to be foggy all the way there? But soon after I crossed the Illinois line, the fog lifted, and it was sunny, and it was so much better driving. So I pull up. The parking lot is full of this big, big, big church building, and it's already in progress. I go inside. I decided to just take my little bag of knitting because I didn't know. I was coming in late. Didn't know what was going to happen exactly. So I go in, and I knew I needed to find Susan Anderson, and I needed to find Paula to figure out where these sock machines go to. So I go in, and there's one little lady sitting at the registration desk, and nobody else is around, and it was pretty quiet, but you could hear a little talking in the distance. And so I went up to her and I said, hi, I'm Christina Wall. I'm a little late. I'm so sorry, but I made it. And she said, welcome. And she crossed my name off the list, and she gave me my badge. And so I pinned on my badge, and aren't they cute? They're so cute. So she said, now if you're a little shy, I can give you a little smiley face sticker. And I thought, I don't want to announce to the world that I'm shy. That was my first. I think I'll be okay. And then she gave me this bag. And isn't this a nice bag? Isn't that so generous of Paula? She's so generous. So, and it even has a zip top, which I love zip tops because then things don't fall out. And it even has a little pocket, a zip pocket on the inside too. It was just so nice and generous. And so I got my little bag, and then she goes, okay, now you can go into the big room and find a seat. And I went into the big room, and it looked like 1,000,000 tables filled with 1,000,000 people, and all these 1,000,000 bags, actually 2,000,000 bags filled with, knitting. And I walked right back out. And I wanted to go up to her and ask, is there assigned seating? Because I was almost hoping, is there some place where I belong? Because I don't want to go up and ask somebody and say, do you have a seat for me? But she was busy talking. The register lady was talking to somebody from the kitchen, so I couldn't ask her. So I went and peered back in, the room, and Paula saw me, and then Sarah saw me. Paula is on Paula's audio blog, so you hear Sarah and Bronwyn at times talking, and they came right up to me, which was so kind. I didn't expect that either. I expected that they'd be like supercharged busy and wouldn't be able to, you don't get to meet the bigwigs usually. And I felt that the bigwigs came right up to me, and it was very intimidating. But they said, oh, well, you just go and find a seat anywhere where there's an open spot. It doesn't look like there's open spots, but there's a lot of open spots. And I decided, okay, I have Paula, the bigwig, right here, and I probably am not ever going to see her again at this knitting retreat because she's going to be so busy behind the scenes that I better ask her right now about the sock machines. So I said, I have sock machines for Susan Anderson. Is she coming to this event? Is she here? And Paula, she's so gracious. She is so gracious. But and I just blew her out of the water with a really weird question. She looked at me and she said, Susan B. Anderson? And I said, yes. And she said, no, she's not expected here. And I thought, oh no, I put my foot in my mouth. Here I am starting off the retreat on the wrong foot. I'm going to be known as the odd sock machine lady. But I thought, okay, all right, we got to come up with another plan. Here I am with these sock machines. I bet I'm going to have to drive them back to Indiana. So I thought, okay, we'll deal with that in a little bit. And Sarah graciously showed me to a table where there was a seat for me. And I tell you, guys, I lucked out on the best table ever. I had the loveliest knitters surrounding my table, and we had so much fun. So I was still a little frazzled about the sock machines, thinking, who am I supposed to give these to next? So I texted the person back in Indianapolis and said, well, Susan B. Anderson isn't supposed to be here. Is there anyone else that I'm supposed to give these sock machines to? Because I then found out that they're actually going to Amy Dachin. And Amy Dachin, she is co-host of the Knit Circus podcast, if you guys have ever listened to that one. It's a wonderful podcast with Jala Spiro of Knit Circus Yarns, and she dyes beautiful gradients. So if you haven't checked her yarn out. Sorry, guys, I got so excited about her talking about Jala Spiro's yarn. But anyways, if you haven't checked out Knit Circus and her wonderful yarn, you should check it out. So anyways, sent off that text message. I was got to figure out what to do with these sock machines, right? And I sat down and I kind of just took a deep breath, and I had made it. Then I realized, so looked at my clock, because I thought, I was going to be so late and I was going to miss all the little classes that start at 4, and it was only 3. And I forgot that Washington, Illinois was an hour behind us. I gained an hour. So I was so happy and so thankful. So that was totally awesome. Things began to look up from there. So Sarah, as she left me at the table, said, Java Jenny has been asking for you, and if you have arrived yet, and she has something she really wants to talk to you, and so I'm going to go let her know that you're here, and she'll probably come and talk to you. And I said, okay, all right, no problem. I have met Java Jenny on Instagram, and she is such a lovely person and has wonderful knitting project bags, and so I was excited to meet her. So I started knitting, and I started talking to my table mates, who were so awesome. Rose sat on my left-hand side, and Destiny sat on my right. And hi, Rose and Destiny. They were the best knitting friends you could ever hope for at a knitting retreat, which was so much fun. And we just started chatting away, and then Java Jenny came by, and she says, "Hi, I'm supposed to take the knitting machines, the sock machines that you've brought over from Indianapolis." And I said, "Yes, hallelujah! Finally, someone knows about these sock machines, and I'm not crazy." So I was so thrilled. I don't know why. I felt so responsible for those sock machines. So I was very happy to know that they were going someplace and get them into the right hands for their trip back up to Madison, Wisconsin. So anyways, after that, I felt like I could enjoy the retreat, which was so funny. So right after that, and then once I got all that done, Rose said, "Hey, look in your bag. There's something in your bag." And I said, "Really? There's something in my bag?" And yes, there was 2 skeins of Finch from Quince and Company. Isn't that nice? What a little gift, I tell you. Paula is just so kind and so generous, and so I was thrilled with that. Everybody got different colors, and some people exchanged their colors, but these colors were definitely my colors. It is clay, and it's 100% American wool, and it's fingering weight. So I can see this as a nice shawl coming up here. It will be lovely, wouldn't it? So, well, with that was so exciting. I was thrilled to pieces. I was already, in cloud 9 because this was so awesome. Then we all broke up into little classes, and you could either go to the class if you wanted to, or you could stay in the main room and keep knitting. And in the far corner, I think Unique Yarns was setting up a little shop so we could have a yarn shop to go shopping to, and when we came back from the classes, and so that was really exciting to start watching that happening, and it was a ton of fun. I went to a classroom where we learned about how to sew felt mittens from felted sweaters, and she talked about the importance of not felting the sweaters too thickly, which I think sometimes in the past people have done, and you just can't get the sweater then through the sewing machine. So those little tips were really helpful and a lot of fun. And then I came back, and they have coffee and tea and lemonade and water set up all the time, anytime you wanted it, and you could just go get it. And so really yummy coffee too, and real half and half, which I love. So I went and got myself a cup of coffee, and then after that class, and then I sat down in the big room and did some knitting until dinner time, and that was just so relaxing. So then we had dinner, and dinner is so yummy and tasty. There's a lot of volunteers that work in the kitchen, and then the wonderful Nikki is such a good cook, and she did such a good job. I have to have gluten-free things, and they did an amazing job with a gluten-free menu and things that we could eat, and I was very full. It was wonderful. I had soups. They had wonderful soups and wonderful salad, and So that was a lot of fun. And then we came back into the big room, and we were supposed to have, well, we did have another class after dinner, but I totally forgot about it because they got talking to all of the wonderful other knitters at my table. And another one of the lovely ladies at the table was Sue Wilkins of Prairie Bag Works, and you can find her shop on Etsy too, and she has lovely project bags. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes in Ravelry so you guys can find her. And it's also for Rose. I told her I'd make all the show notes from the I lost my words, from the retreat, so that she can have notes, because I was always scribbling notes down in my book, And she said, "Oh, I'll let you take the notes." And so, Rose, these are for you. I'll give you show notes in the Ravelry group. So, anyways, then the knitting just lasted late into the night. Some people got up and played games. We had a belly dancer. It was so fun. Give a belly dancing show, and it was spectacular. It was wonderful. She did such a good job. And I had never seen a belly dancer in person, so it was so fun. And she was in costume, full costume and everything. So it was just a spectacular. And I was so in awe. I didn't get any pictures. I was just sitting there knitting and just in awe of everything. So, but then I had chosen to spend the night at the church, because you can either spend the night at the church or you can get a hotel room. And I was just a little bit nervous about getting a hotel room by myself. I don't know why, but I thought it would be safety in numbers. So there was 7 of us that stayed over at the church, and we all set up in the classrooms in the back, and I had a cot and a sleeping bag, so I was up off the ground. I brought my cot and my pillow, and I think I went to sleep around 10:30 because I was a little tired. It was already 11:30 for me, and so I was tired, and so I went to sleep, and I slept really well. I mean, it's a really comfortable place, and there was plenty of bathrooms. There's even a shower in the church. It's really incredible. And I woke up in the morning to the ladies who come in to start breakfast, and they were quietly whispering, and then you hear the pots and pans in the kitchen clattering around, and then you smell the coffee brewing, and it was just such a nice way to wake up. Just nice and slow, and just smell that coffee being made for you, and you could get a cup of coffee on your way to the bathroom to change and to do your hair, and it was just so relaxing and so nice. And by the time I got up and got my clothes on and put my stuff back in the car, there were already knitters in the big room, and it was before, I think it was like 7:30 when I got into the big room, and Paula was already there, and some of the other knitters, and breakfast was being cooked, and it smelled delicious, and it was delicious. And so anyways, it was a wonderful start to the day. Breakfast was fabulous. And then we had more breakout sessions in the morning that we went to. I went to one that was given by Paula's husband on kind of the history of pi, because it was Pi Day, not pi as in P-I-E, but pi, the mathematical equation. And so that was kind of fun. I was rapidly scribbling notes because I knew John would really get into something like this, and I wanted to try to remember some of that to tell him. So anyways, that was fun. And then I just went back to the big room and just sat and knitted. I mean, there's so much inspiration that's going on in the big room because people are sitting and knitting, and their projects are so fascinating. I think that Amy Beth did mention of the Fat Squirrel Knits, Fat Squirrel Speaks. She mentioned that it was definitely a year of Stephen West shawls, and I would definitely agree with that. I'm not usually drawn to Stephen West shawls. They are amazing masterpieces of art, but the combinations that people had knit them in were really, really wonderfully wearable and just beautiful. And so that was fun to see. Knit Spin Farm, Joanna of Knit Spin Farm, I think she did one of my favorite scarves of his that I had ever seen. And it was a very elongated triangle that you can wear wrapped around your neck, and with a larger part hanging here and the skinnier part hanging here. And it was just really inventive and fun. And so I thought, I might need to knit some Stephen West shawls because they're really cool. So that was kind of fun. Another thing that I got interested in was Scott Porter of Porter Threads. He came up with a very simple spinning wheel that you can make yourself. And it's a spindle spinning wheel. And it was the first time outside of a history museum that I had seen a spindle spinning wheel live and in person. And I was absolutely fascinated by it as he was talking and as he was spinning, and just watching him spin and how fast he can spin because there's no flyer contraption. You use a long draw for spinning it, and then you just keep treadling, and then you use your other hand, you draw it out, and then you just change directions and you wind it on, and you draw it out and you wind it on. And it was absolutely fascinating. So when I got home, I did some more research on spindle spinning wheels and great wheels, because a walking wheel is a spindle spinning wheel. It has no flyer contraption or so I was absolutely fascinated by it. And I'm going to put a link to a video on how to spin on a great wheel or a walking wheel in the show notes, because I was absolutely fascinated. It made me really, really, really want to get a great wheel or a walking wheel. I can't right now. It's totally out of the question. But someday, you can always have that dream list of things. So if you guys have a spindle spinning wheel, or if any of you have a great wheel, I'd love to hear from you about how you enjoy it and what your take is on it. But I'll also link to Scott Porter's website and his do-it-yourself, make it your own spinning wheels, because they're really simple and really cool looking. So I'm going to talk to my dad about modifying. I have a Kromsky mazurka, they don't make them anymore. They make the minstrels instead. But I noticed that I could probably modify a portion of the wheel to become a spindle spinning wheel. And so I was going to ask my dad about that and check into that. So if I do that, I'll show you guys, because it's really, really cool. So anyways, then we had a wonderful lunch. And the fun thing about this retreat is everybody is free to just get up and mingle. And we had an impromptu breakout session of learning how to spin on Turkish drop spindles. And it was just so much fun. And the meal times are fun. You just kind of mixed up and sat with different people and really got to know a wide variety of people. At lunch, Julie of the Heritage Hill Farm, which is close to the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, she sat at our table and told us a lot about the Leicester long wool sheep, and that it's a rare breed, and that here in the United States they have small pockets of flocks scattered throughout the country, so that if a pest or something was to come along and wipe out an entire flock, that the entire breed wouldn't be wiped out, those flocks could be rebuilt from satellite flocks around the country. So I thought that was really, really fascinating and interesting, and I just wanted to listen to her talk a little more because it was fun. She was talking about the sheep were lambing at the farm. So she said that the sheep, as they are in labor, the sounds that they're actually starting to talk to the lambs as they're preparing to come out, which I thought was really sweet. How cute is that? She said they're not really crying or groaning in pain, but they're talking, they're cooing almost to their lambs that are coming out, which is just so cool. I tell ya, nature is so cool. So anyways, then after lunch, we all sat back down, and you could tell there was this buzz in the room, and there were some people missing, and it was the vendors. The vendors were getting ready for the vendor fair, and out where we had lunch, you could hear this buzzing and moving about in boxes and humming, and in the room here, you could feel this anticipation of people just getting ready to shop. And there's a whole science or art to shopping at these retreats, because it's like a swarm of bees on the vendors, and it's crazy. Fiber fairs here in Indianapolis are small affairs, and people kind of trickle through, and it can be really slow at times. And this thing is like zombie. I mean, it's like a swarm of bees on everything. And so if you want something, you better run. But anyways, so they actually opened the vendor fair 30 minutes early, so everyone was really excited, and everyone swarmed in, and it was crazy and exciting all at the same time. So right about then, I had to hightail it for home, because little Arthur was getting sick, and JK was afraid that he was getting croup. So I wanted to make it home. I knew that I had a time change, so I was going to lose an hour, and I really wanted to make it home before his bedtime, just to help with the transition to bedtime and be there for the nighttime, because as you guys know, nighttime with croup is the worst. So thankfully he did not get croup. So he just had a really, really bad cough. So we were very thankful about that. But anyway, so about then I said my goodbyes as best as I could. I missed a few people just with the craziness of the vendor fair, but it was so much fun. It went by too fast, and I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. So it is a really incredible retreat. Paula, as best as I can understand, she does not do this for profit. She does it, any money left over, I think if I remember correctly, someone said that she donates, and I'm sorry if I got this wrong, but she just, in that whole spirit of generosity and giving a gift to other people, she gives us a gift of friendship and of just community, which is really incredible. And it just filters down. It filters down from her and right into everybody that is there. I was really impressed by how she comes and sits at every table and knits with every table. And that was just so incredible. That she would take the time to do that. And Sarah and Bronwyn both do that too. They visited the different tables, and just very impressed with how friendly and how kind and how generous everybody was. So a big thank you to Paula and Bronwyn and Sarah and everybody behind the scenes who put that retreat on. It was a gift to be able to go and just to sit and enjoy it. It was a gift to me to be able to sit and have meals made for me, since I'm the one who's always making the meals here at home, and I love cooking, but it is such a treat when somebody else makes it for you too. So anyways, I did snatch two things before I left at the vendor fair, just really quickly. I got 2 different kinds of the Leicester long wool, and this is the pure stuff, and you can see it is long fibers, very long. If you can see, you can barely see that, and it is spinning up. It's gorgeous. It has such a luster and a sheen to it. So I'm really excited. I'm going to do a 2-ply, and I have 4 ounces here, so I'll probably do a shawl with it. And I have an exciting idea of what I want to do. I want to dye this after I've knit the shawl in a specific way. So I'm kind of looking forward to showing you guys that. Then I got this, this is Leicester long wool and a Shetland cross. So this has a more buttery texture to it, and more it has more body to it as well, which is really cool. So I'm really looking forward to spinning that up. And those two are from Heritage Hill Farm, and I'll put a link for you guys so you can see that. And then this, look at this gorgeous bat. Isn't that spring? Ah, it almost looks like a flower that you should smell. This is from Knit Spin Farm. Joanna Spring. Doesn't she do gorgeous bats? So I am really looking forward to this. Oh, this is fun. She called it Spring finally. So this is Blue-Faced Leicester, Corriedale, Merino, and Shetland. So I am really, really looking forward to that, spinning that. That is coming soon. So those are the two things that I picked up while I was there. And then what was I knitting while I was there? Okay. Well, I was knitting the Remembering Vanessa cowl, and as you can see, I got it done, and I'm totally in love with it. I want to do another one. It was so much fun. So I know most of you, or a lot of you, are working on yours, and you've just started the 4th chapter. And so you're nearing the end. It was so much fun. So I hope you guys are still enjoying knitting it just as much as I did. I can't wait to see your pictures over in the Ravelry group. So don't forget to put them up. So anyways, I did the cowl knitting, and then I knitted a lot on a sock that I'm working on. This is Croy sock yarn, and this is the, I always have a hard time finding their names. Here it is. Summer Moss Jacquard. So I have one done and one just started, so one sock. So it is half of a finished object. And then before the retreat, I am going to make, look at this loveliness. Here we go. Isn't this so pretty? I am making a flea. It is Flea, a ladies' cardigan. And this is a Pay for Pattern by Anne Meyer. She is, if I remember this, she's a Norwegian designer. And I remember seeing this Lena of A Wee Bit Nitty podcast. She worked on one a little while ago and finished it, and it looked gorgeous. So I had some yarn that someone had given me, and it was all the colors in the yoke. So all I needed to do was get the gray for the body, for the main part. So I got, this is Harrisville, it's their Harrisville Shetland, so it's their fingering weight. So I worked on that a little bit. I was at the part where you just do the fleas, or the lice, the little flecks. So I didn't get very much done of that one, as you can see, but it's coming. So, but I worked on that a little bit. And then I started this. I thought this might be fun as a fun knit along coming up. Probably the middle of April. We'll do the middle of April to the end of May. And this is the Woodland Spring shawl that I designed quite a while ago, actually, back in 2009. It came out as part of a collection, but I thought it'd be fun to try it in a gradient. And you remember I dyed this up fairly recently. So I went ahead and I started it and just going to map it out a little bit and then possibly come up with a fun knit along for us to do. It won't be a surprise knit along like the Remembering Vanessa cowl was, but it'll be fun, short and easy and sweet, and then we'll have a fun shawl for spring to do. So anyways, those were the projects that I brought over with me, and that's what I knitted on during the retreat, and it was a lot of fun. So anyways, that is that for the retreat. I made it home uneventfully, and I walked in the door, and the boys had made pizza, and they were sitting and eating it as I walked in, and they were so happy to see me. It was so cute. So John said he didn't want me to go away again. And Arthur didn't want to let go of me after he saw me. So that was fun. It was nice to know that I was missed, but I think they had a fun time with JK. So anyways, that is that for the Knitting Pipeline retreat. It is an awesome retreat, and I was thoroughly hooked. And I do hope to make it back next year. Who knows what a year will bring, but I do hope that I will be able to make it back and just be part of another wonderful community. So I will be back with you guys in a little bit for another podcast, because I owe you guys another regular podcast. And I have lots to show you and lots to tell you, so that will be fun. But in the meantime, I'll catch you over in the A Knitter's Life Ravelry group, and you can catch me on Instagram. And until then, happy knitting.